Tension today. U.S. fans flames as Philippines keeps provoking China in South China Sea. Amid escalating tensions in the South China Sea caused by the Philippines' repeated provocations over Chinese islands and reefs, a high-ranking U.S. military officer has announced the U.S. willingness to hold consultations on escorting Philippine ships in the region, a move Chinese experts said on Wednesday will only fan the flames and encourage Manila to make more infringing provocations. Citing the Mutual Defense Treaty between the U.S. and the Philippines, Admiral Samuel Paparo, head of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, said at an international military conference in Manila on Tuesday that the U.S. military is open to consultations about escorting Philippine ships in the South China Sea, the AP reported on Wednesday. Attending the conference together with Paparo, General Romeo Bronner Jr., Chief of Philippine Armed Forces, responded cautiously to the suggestion, reported the AP, which quoted a previous remark by Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. as saying that there has been no situation so far that would warrant activating the treaty. The military conference in Manila, organized by the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, comes at a time when the Philippines has been continuously making infringing provocations on Chinese islands and reefs in the South China Sea, including Rene Zhao, Wang Yandao and Shanbin Zhao, each time finding their trespasses restricted by legitimate, professional, restrained but forceful measures from the Chinese side. Paparo's remarks show that the U.S. is not satisfied to see China's effective management and control measures against the Philippine provocations, nor does it want to see tensions in the South China Sea settle down, because it needs the Philippines to remain at the front line of its plan to contain China, a Chinese military expert who requested anonymity told the Global Times on Wednesday. But even the Philippines understands that it would be far too risky for the U.S. military to provide escorts for Philippine trespassing attempts into waters off Chinese islands, the above-quoted expert said. If the U.S. really sends warships to escort Philippine provocations, what will happen when they encounter Chinese restrictions? Will this lead to a direct confrontation between China and the U.S., a situation neither side wants to see? If the U.S. backs down, not only will the U.S. lose influence, the Philippines will also lose its biggest support for its claims in the South China Sea, the expert noted. The U.S. is just claiming it can provide escorts, which is lip service to encourage more Philippine provocations, while the Philippines does not dare accept the suggestion, the expert said. CNN on Tuesday hyped China's Shanbin Zhao as a dangerous new flashpoint, citing multiple Philippine intrusions in attempts to send supplies to a Philippine quasi-grounded Coast Guard ship. Those attempts were met with restrictive measures by the China Coast Guard. Li Kaisheng, vice president of the Shanghai Institutes for International Studies, told the Global Times on Wednesday that the Philippine ship anchored on Shanbin Zhao is a provocation to China's sovereignty, and China's countermeasures were necessary and legitimate. Out of political calculations, the Philippine government is putting its Coast Guard personnel on the quasi-grounded ship at risk. If the Philippines wants to avoid a humanitarian crisis and still cares about the safety of its personnel, it should withdraw its ship from Shanbin Zhao, Li said. Chen Xiaomiao, director of the World Navy Research Center at the National Institute for South China Sea Studies, told the Global Times on Wednesday that the essence of the Philippine supply missions is a political show with the real goal being expanding territories in the South China Sea. Such provocations have maintained high tensions at sea, and this harms the interests of Philippine fisher folks too, Chen said. Also at the military conference in Manila, Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. said that China is the biggest disruptor of peace in Southeast Asia and called for stronger international censure over its aggression in the South China Sea, the AP reported. In response, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said at a routine press conference on Tuesday that China urges certain people on the Philippine side to face up to the root cause of the issue. Stop going down the wrong path of disrupting regional peace by stirring up troubles and making provocations, and stop the clumsy stunts of calling white black and falsely accusing China. Ding Duo, Deputy Director of the Institute of Maritime Law and Policy at the National Institute for South China Sea Studies, said that the Philippines, the one that has provoked in the first place, ignores its provocative behaviors and uses a narrative to hype China threats to mislead international audiences and justify its provocative actions. Experts pointed out that the Philippines is the true disruptor of peace, as it is the Philippines that has intentionally created collision incidents, intentionally quasi-grounded a Coast Guard vessel at China's Shanbin for more than 4 months and caused humanitarian issues with its sailors, and intentionally escalated tensions in the South China Sea that impacted the livelihood of local fishermen, not to mention its bringing of forces outside the region to disrupt regional peace and stability.